Hello and welcome to Rotted Review of the Day, and today I am tackling the 2005 Killer Kris Kringle movie, Santa's Slay. Now, in the course of this Christmas advent calendar of horror movies thus far, I have encountered a lot of killer Santas and a lot of slashers, and although I will say that this is not the best one, this is hands down the most fun one. I really enjoyed the heck out of this one. Everybody involved in making it seemed to have a really fantastic, cheeky time with it, and I was totally on board. It was a merry-go-round of Christmas gory awesomeness. So to get into more details, let's get into the categories. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. The plot of this one had a very stupidly fun Gremlins kind of feel to it, in my opinion. This follows the character of Nicholas Yuleson, played by Douglas Smith, who is a teenage boy that is just simply existing in a small town with his grandpa and love interests and so forth, when the small town is besieged by a killer Santa, played by Bill Goldberg, and apparently who is Santa is a descendant of Satan, who is bringing joy and merriment to all the children of the world as the result of a lost bet. And now the terms of the bet, the number of years he had to force himself to do this, is now up. And he is free to be the demon that he wants to be. And he chooses to do so in the small town, seemingly targeting Nicholas and his grandfather for reasons that are explained during the plot. Again, just stupidly fun, but had a great kind of flow to it, and I genuinely enjoyed it. This was not afraid to bring out the gimmicks, and honestly, they really worked. I gave the plot a 17 out of 25. Very happy to do so. I actually really enjoyed how well this one was written, especially for being how stupid I really thought it would be before watching it. The intent, I gave a 22 out of 25. This was intending to have a massive meat man of a huge Santa killing a lot of people with cheesy one-liners and silliness, and man, did it accomplish that. I will say that I had no idea who Bill Goldberg was prior to watching this one. I am not a professional wrestling fan. I have nothing against it. It's just nothing I've ever really been into, but I really enjoyed his performance in this one. It really seemed like he was very on board with it and enjoyed every minute that he was on screen, and his fun became my fun. I really felt it come through the screen, and I was absolutely on board with it with him. And honestly, I mean, even without just the intent, I would say that it managed to achieve what it was trying to do while still turning out a pretty decent movie. I'm not going to say a great one, but coherent, well acted, fun, a genuine romp. So yeah, 22 out of 25 for the intent. The acting, I gave a 16 out of 25. I would say that this was slightly better than average. They genuinely had fun with the roles. It really seemed like Bill Goldberg was great as Santa. Douglas Smith was great as Nicholas. Grandpa was played by Robert Culp, who, from what I've seen, this is his second Christmas horror movie, the first being Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. And everybody seemed to do a very decent job on it, but let's be honest, this movie is what it is. They're not going to give them a whole lot of material to span the gamut of emotional range in humanity. But what they were given, I thought they worked really well with, and they sold it, and at no point did I feel like that the actors were butting heads with the writing. They worked with it, they flowed with it, and they made it as good as they possibly could. So 16 out of 25 for the acting there. The technical, I gave a 15 out of 25. In this one, nothing really to write home to. Some of the body effects and gore effects and so forth were pretty good. The character design of Santa himself was pretty good. The sequences of him flying, not so much. They were pretty cheesy. But overall, I think everything came together in a fairly cohesive way with the camera work and the sound work and so forth to basically just deliver the romp that this was. Nothing to write home to, but technically adept, and nothing that I felt detracted from the movie. So that gives us a total score of 70 out of 100 points, and that's honestly about 50 more than I thought this would get before I started watching it. I had never seen this before, but I had seen the box art, and I'd always been intrigued by it, so I finally pulled the trigger on it this time, and I was pleasantly surprised. I love being pleasantly surprised. So this is now one of my go-to recommendations if people want to bring up, what's a good Christmas horror movie for me to watch. I am absolutely going to say 2005 Santa's Slay. The one thing that this isn't, and I haven't yet to experience, and I know I've said it before, and we only have a certain number of days left, but I really, really wish that we have a genuinely scary Christmas horror movie so far. They've been fun and bloody and terrible and bad, and we haven't really had scary, and it doesn't seem like that lofty of a goal for me. Christmas time has I love the joy unto all and so forth mentality to it, and the spirit of Christmas. I love Christmas and the spirit of it, that it brings out the best in everybody, but at the same time I don't think it's a huge leap to latch onto that slightly more dark, slightly more sinister tone that Christmas can definitely have to it, being, around winter solstice and the darkest night of the year kind of thing, or, just roundabouts on the calendar level at least, and trusting in mankind, and, mankind being what it is could betray that trust. And I think that there's some really good, genuine elements in the holiday that could lend itself to a genuinely scary movie. And I haven't seen it yet, and I really want to. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, that should wrap up this 2005 Santa's Slay review. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.